have to follow the same regulations. And so what this means is that when public universities want to go global, they're going to have to deal with these increased regulations. On top of that, now state governments are finding that they're feeling the competition from out-of-state competitors, and they're trying to crack down on their regulations to keep people out. And they haven't even felt the foreign universities that are going to be coming in next. The bottom line for all of this is that if we aren't careful, U.S. universities in particular will become less competitive. The other thing to remember is, and we talked about it briefly before, is that foreign universities are most likely to get preferential treatment from their governments, and they will get fewer regulations, which give them a major advantage over Americans. Okay, so what is the solution I recommend for universities thinking about going transnational distance learning? I think of it being this as my Christmas tree story. I once was at the University of New Hampshire with my advisor, who was from Harvard, brilliant guy, and we were putting in depth meters in throughout the Delaware Bay. But we wanted to go to the engineering school at the University of New Hampshire to make sure we were doing it right. So we went up, and my advisor gave this great description of what we were doing, and he had diagrams of the whole bay, and the head of the school listened very politely and very nicely and shook his head. And when my advisor finished, he got up and he drew, the head of the engineering drew a Christmas tree. And we're both looking at each other, and we're thinking, what is he doing? And he drew this Christmas tree, and he looked, and he drew one little ornament on it. And he turned around and looked at us and said, start small. And I think that's the best advice for global learning. You want to go global? Fine. But start small. Pick your one institution. Somebody else said, how do you get a partnership? When you start small and you get a partnership, be very wary of the partnership, because that partnership can get you in lots of trouble if you're not careful. All right, with all of that said, now we come to the interesting, really challenging part of it. With that basis for a background, who will be the winners for transnational distance learning? I think you'll agree that funding has got to be essential. You need leadership with vision. You got to have infrastructure. You can't do this without the proper infrastructure. I deal with the University of Phoenix. Their system never goes down. I deal with Walden University. Their system always goes down. You've got to have a system that's stable. And your universities are going to be the ones that have the least government and accreditation agency issues, and the ones that know how to market themselves. So, with that, are there any questions before we go further?
I'm not seeing any question at this time.
Okay. What we want to say is the universities in the 1990s moved too slowly. We can't repeat those mistakes again, or this time the movement is going to be faster. Recognize the global markets, and you've got to recognize the competition, and you've got to recognize that the competition has gone global. We also want to recognize that the move to transnational distance learning will meet the needs of students, workers, universities, and businesses and nations. It becomes essential because the world needs more workers with competitive skills. Before we take the IQ test, we're going to take the IQ test. Oh, before we do, this is the book Transnational Distance Learning, Building New Markets. And I just want to say that when we designed this book, I selected authors from around the world. The Vice Chancellor of the University of South Africa, Vice Chancellor of the University of Indonesia, Indira Gandhi. So we got a global global perspective on this issue of transnational distance learning. Found it very, I think it turns it out to be much more valuable. All right, here is a transnational distance learning IQ test. I will read the questions to you, and you just count with your fingers, yes or no. First one, your university mission includes global learning. My university has a product for which there is a transnational market. The university can commit sufficient finances to support a transnational distance learning operation. The university has the expertise and resources to put multinational degrees online. The administration has considered the pros and cons of a for-profit distance learning model. The university has in place a business model to enable the distance learning division to quickly develop new products to meet changing market needs. The administration has considered having a distance learning division to operate separately. The university academic, finance, and student services work effectively together. All student services are available online. The workload and compensation of online learning teachers has been determined. The university has a training program for new online teachers. My university has a training program for online pedagogy, as well as procedures for assessment and course management. Foreign countries will accept my university's degree. Our rationale for international tuition rates has been examined. Courses are designed for multicultural and multinational markets. The university has procedures to assess online faculty and student satisfaction. The university has established an online class size. The courses will use a common pedagogy. The university will maximize the use of adjuncts to reduce costs. The last one is just fun. I have used Flickr, Dropbox, Blogster, Zing, or Skype. Okay, go ahead and add up your number and post them into our answer question. Let's see how we did.
Okay, folks are still voting. 10 more seconds. If you count your answers, please select one of those options. Okay, a few more seconds. You have the last chance to answer. Okay, I'm going to close the poll now and share the result. Okay, 25% between 15 to 20, 75% between 8 to 14.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, we're at the end of our presentation. Are there any more questions? If not, I'd like to thank you for your, oops.
It's okay.
If not,
yeah, continue, please.
okay. Let me see. That's good. If not, I'd like to thank you for your time. I'll be on. I can stay on a few more minutes after this for additional discussion. When this webinar is posted, you can get my contact information and the discussion board information, and that's all you really need. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I hope you found the webinar of value. And thank you very much. I'll turn it over to the global representative.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Hello again, everyone, and thank you, Professor Hogan, for the wonderful presentation. We are so glad that everyone could join us for this event. Again, our webinar today has been recorded, and attendees will receive a link to access it directly. It is also available online at our website under Online Symposiums, where viewers can also see our previously recorded symposiums. 2 months ago, we had another webinar featuring Lisa Carlocci's presentation, Designing the Imperatives, which was a great discussion on challenges libraries face with ever-evolving.
I'd like to take a moment now to tell you a little bit about IGI Global. We publish the latest research in information computer science and technology as applied to business and public administration, engineering, education, medical and healthcare, and social science through our books, journals, cases, and databases. You will find Professor Hogan's book, Transnational Distance Learning and Building New Markets for Universities, along with other valuable resources on the subject of distance learning, in our InfoSci Books database. The database contains over 1,000 book and reference publications on a wide range of subjects. We also have an InfoSci Journals database, which contains research from over 100 journal publications. Another valuable reference alternative is our InfoSci on-demand pay-per-view ordering service. If you visit the website I have listed, you have the option to order individual chapters or sections from a book. All of our book chapters and journal articles are available in our InfoSci on-demand database, which is a great option for teachers, students, and researchers who need immediate access to individual articles. Thank you all again for joining us today, and we hope to see you at another upcoming event or symposium. If you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to contact me, Ann Leupold, or Christine Buffton at the address you see on screen.